What's up, buddies? And buddy girls. So today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I decided to try out an HTML tutorial type of video, just like a basic HTML, maybe a little CSS tutorial. I just wanted to see if people enjoyed this type of video, and if you do, maybe I'll do more. Maybe I'll make a series about it if people are interested and they find it relaxing. So I'm just gonna start off by creating like a basic shell for the webpage, and then I'll kind of explain each part after I'm finished, so just give me like a minute to do that. Okay, this is like the basic shell of a web page. Right up here, you're gonna always type this at the top. This is indicating to the browser that you are going to be using HTML5 instead of the older HTML versions. So you're always going to want to put that in there at the top. And then here is your first element. Well, I guess this could be the first, but this is, you're always going to add HTML under doc type HTML. These are all called elements. There's an opening element and then a closing element. So if you're new to HTML, you're probably wondering why I was writing this twice. And that is the reason. This is the opener, and then the one with a / is closing that tag. I already saved a file into a folder, and I called it HTML I called it website.html. You have to add HTML when you're saving it in like Notepad. I'm using Notepad++, but you could use Notepad or any like text editor. I just prefer Notepad++. And here is the file right here. I clicked save. So let's see what this looks like. As you can see, there's nothing here. Nothing is showing. None of this is showing. the only thing that we do see is our title. Right here, the title will be the name inside of the browser tab. So anything, or most things, well, not anything, but most things inside of that element, users are not going to see in their browser. This is like a behind the scenes type of element. They will see the title though. This right here is just telling the browser how to render, or what character set to render. This is just like English and no special type of characters like alt codes and stuff like that. I'm not like gonna explain much more than that, but if you're just gonna use English and regular letters and stuff, just add that in there. You don't have to really worry about that too much unless you're using special type of characters. After our head, we have our body element. This is all of this, what the user sees when they open their browser and go to a website. They're looking at the body. So let's add our first element inside of our body. And then let's click save and refresh. There we go. Now this is our heading to our website. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was typing the head element out, you can see there's different headings all the way up to 6. Heading 1 would be the most important heading. Heading 6 would be the least important. And what I mean is this. Save it and then refresh. Notice this heading is a lot smaller than our heading 1 is. That is the major difference, or that is the only difference between H1 to H6. Okay. The headings font sizes can be changed, but by default, those are the sizes. They're just bigger to small. You could change any heading size to be bigger if you wanted to. Inside of the CSS, and I'll show you a little of what I mean later. Let's go here and make a paragraph. Real simple, just P. And then let's close it off. And let's say this site will contain everything you need to know about ASMR. Save and refresh. Now we have a paragraph right under our header. What if we want to make like a trigger list or something. Like, let's make a list of 5 triggers or something. Well, we have 2 ways of making lists using HTML. Well, there's more than 2, but I'm gonna give you the 2 basic ways to make a list. And we could make an unordered list, and we could make an ordered list. I'm gonna first show you an unordered list. Once inside the unordered list, you're going to type li. And this is where you are going to add your list items. ul unordered list. So it's pretty straightforward. Since we know we're going to add 5 items to our list, I'm going to copy that and then paste 5 times. And let's name some triggers. Actually, you know what we should add here? Another paragraph. And let's tell them that we're going to add 5 triggers. Or we're going to tell them that there's triggers below. Below is a list of known ASMR triggers. Now, let's say whispering. Soft speaking, typing, tapping, mouth sounds. And let's save this and see what it looks like. Okay, there we go. We have 5 list items, and this is an unordered list, so they're bullets. And notice when we made a new paragraph, it added a space between the other paragraph. I guess I could show you this. Let's say you didn't want text to go past here. Well, could we do this? No, we can't do that because browsers do not recognize a return as a line break. That is a special element that you have to add in there. So the element is BR for break, line break. Then I'll show you what it looks like. Notice how it wrapped around. We're not going to leave that in there, but it's something that you should know about. Now, if you want to make an ordered list, all you have to do is make that OL, save, refresh, and now they're numbered in an ordered list. It's pretty straightforward, right? Now, this is looking kind of plain, so what if we want to add a background color? What section would we have to add that color into? We would want to add that into our body, right? Because that is what the users see. This is the body. So we're going to use CSS for that. And style is just telling the browser that we want to add CSS. And you add style into the head element. You don't have to, but for this example, I'm going to be adding it in there. So let's type in body, because that's what we want to change. The color. We want to change the body's color. And then you do open squiggly line, or squiggly parenthesis thing, and then close. So not the regular bracket, you want the squiggly brackets. And then we would type in background dash color, and then semicolon. So what if we want the background to be red? Let's try that. Now the closing is not a semicolon, it's the other one, without the shift, same button but without the shift. I can't remember what it's called. I'm getting a blank on it. Oh, this is gonna piss me off. Anyways, let's see what happens. Save it and refresh. So now we have a red background. What if we don't want red? What if we want a different shade of red, like blood red? Blood red. Let's save that and refresh. Now it turned back to white, even though we typed in blood red, because the browser doesn't really understand human language. It only understands the basic colors like red, white, blue, black, and a few other ones, green, and a few extras. But if you want to go really, if you want to really narrow the colors down, one way to do that is by doing this. RGB, open parentheses, close parentheses. RGB would be red, green, blue. Each value goes from 0 to 255. So for each red, green, blue, we have to type in a value. So let's try 230 for red, 78 for green, and 90 for blue. And then let's see what we get. Okay, we get like a pinkish kind of color. We don't want that though. So I already went to Google and I typed in color picker. Yes, Notepad++ has a plugin for a color picker. I don't have it. And if you don't have it, this is an easy way to do it. If you're only using regular Notepad, you just type in color picker, and as you can see, there's plenty of sites that have color pickers, or you could just use the one that pops up on Google, and you could find the color that you want. So let's try. Let's try this color. 0, 173, 226, 0, 173, 226, and save that. And go back to here and refresh, and there we go. We changed our background color. But what if we don't want this heading color to be black? Well, that's simple enough to change right in here as well. We would just type in H1. Same thing. Curly bracket, open, curly bracket, close. But we don't want to do background color. We want to change the text color. You can do the background color, but it is just gonna change the background color of the text, and I'll show you. So let's say we made the background color red. This is what's going to happen. It's going to give this heading a background color of red, and we don't want that. We just want the text color to change. So we're just simply going to type in color. And I think I want to make it white. So since it already knows it, since the browser can understand white, I'm just going to type in white and then save and refresh. And there we go. We have a white heading. Now, let's say we have 3 paragraphs here. And let's say that we want to change the color of this one only. Well, if we do paragraph in this color tan, because it could understand tan as well, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to change all of those paragraph colors, isn't it? Yep. So we don't want that. So we're not going to use paragraph as our we're not going to call out our paragraph element. What we want to do is we have 2 options here. We could make an ID. And let's call this P-1, indicating that it's our paragraph 1. You can name it whatever you want. It's best to kind of reference what it is, though. So we're going to call this P-1. Now it's a little different when you're calling out an ID. You need to use a hashtag. Open with the same thing. Curly bracket and close curly bracket. Color. And we'll make this color gray. And that's gray now. So these are back to being black. I don't like the gray though, so let's make that white as well. So now that is white and those are black. Now, if we wanted to change these two to a different color, what you want to do is you don't want to do another ID. Well, you could do another ID, but if you're going to use another ID, you want to make sure each ID is different. The browser will render, if you make this IDP1, it will render and it will change the color, but it's not good programming practice to do that just because the browser will work. Because if you ever want to add JavaScript or anything else, it's not going to work, and it's just, it's better to stick with good programming habits. And also, that's why I do lowercase pretty much everything when I'm doing HTML, because if you do XHTML, it's more strict, so lowercase is more required. So anyways, what you should do in a situation like this, if you want to change both of those paragraphs and not the top one, you would make a class equals, and then you would do the same thing as you did with ID. -2 -3, let's say, because it's paragraph 2 and 3 that we want to change. And then instead of typing that again, I'm just going to copy this and paste it there. And now we're going to come up here and we are going to do the same thing as we did here, but only we're not going to use a hashtag for a class element. We're going to use a period. P-2-3. Open curly bracket, close curly bracket, color. What do we want the color here? Let's make it purple. Save and then refresh. Okay, it's kind of hard to see that a little bit, so let's try to make this stand out a little more. So what if we want to make it bold? We're gonna come right here after the P and just type in strong, and then strong, and that makes it bold. We're gonna do the same thing here. Strong. But what if we want this to be a little different as well, the third? Well, we could make it we could add like italics to it with using the element M. And notice this is a little different, but it's bold and italicized. Let me just say before I continue, I tried recording this like earlier, and I think I went for 40 minutes, and it wasn't recording, so I've had a hell of a time trying to record this. And I actually have vertigo, and I'm having issues with vertigo today, so I'm not feeling great. So this one might not be as long as the last one I made. So I'm just gonna teach you this last thing here. How to add an image onto your site. So if you're making a site and it's just like on your desktop right now, or you made a folder and your file like website.html, right here, this file is in a folder on your computer. You're just gonna add an image like this. img src equals double quotes, and then you're going to add that image into the same folder where your HTML file is, and then just write the name of the image. Cosmic Nebula. And then alt equals double quotes universe image universe cosmic nebula. What this alt does is it's basically there so that if the image doesn't render, then that will show up, and It is also for screen readers, for people who might be blind or maybe learning. They have a learning disability. I don't know. I think mostly blind people use screen readers though. And what that does is that goes through the HTML and then it will read the website to the blind person, since they can't see obviously, and that would say welcome to our ASMR site, and then it would say universe cosmic nebula like image, so then they would know that that is what the image is of. So it's important to use that alt code, just because if your image is on a server, on a different server or something, and that server's down and your image isn't rendering, then at least people will know what the hell is supposed to be there. And then I'm just gonna change the size because this is a big image, and I'm just gonna change the width. And I normally like to use percents because unless I need an exact pixel size, I'll just stick with percents. And I only change the width because you don't need to change the height. If you're changing the width, the browser will keep the size proportional, whereas if I changed the width to 250 pixels and then I changed the height to 100 pixels or something, the image might look skewed because you don't have it proportionally set up. So just do width, it's much simpler for basic stuff like this. And then we're gonna save and then refresh, and oh, guess what, our image didn't work. So our alt came up. And why didn't our image work? We named it correctly, right? Because you have to put the file extension with the image name. So since it's a JPEG file, .jpeg, and then save and refresh, now we have our image. Well, that's a little small, so let's make this 35% and see how big that is. Okay, that's a little better. Let's try maybe 45. And then save. There we go. Now we have an image. And yeah, I think that size is okay. I think that's all I'm gonna show for now because, like I said, I'm not feeling great with this vertigo. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and also, if you're here to learn about HTML and you don't know what ASMR is, I'm sorry, bro. But this is an ASMR channel, so you can find another HTML tutorial, I'm sure. Anyways, good night. I hope this Yeti was okay, and I hope the noise from the computer is not too loud. Good night.